heard them sing, he paid the price and Jesus bore it all. I've heard them sing, I'm coming home, and heed the master's call. I've heard them sing the modern songs and songs of long ago. But amazing grace, so sweet the sound, is the sweetest song I know. Amazing grace, so sweet the sound, oh how sweet is the sound. No sweeter song, sweeter song in this life could be found. Heard about the Savior's blood, washed as white as snow. But amazing grace, so sweet the sound, is the sweetest song I know. It was the song my mother sang in sweet and humble voice. Like music from the world above, it made my soul rejoice. Its soothing words and melodies like the rippling waters flow. But amazing grace, so sweet the sound, is the sweetest song I know. Amazing grace, so sweet the sound, oh how sweet is the sound. Sweeter song in this life could be found. Heard about the Savior's blood, washed as white as snow. But amazing grace, so sweet the sound, is the sweetest song I know. Amazing grace, so sweet the sound, oh how sweet is the sound. Sweeter song in this life could be found. Heard about the Savior's blood, washed as white as snow. But amazing grace, so sweet the sound, is the sweetest song I know. But amazing grace, so sweet the sound, is the sweetest song I know. But amazing grace, so sweet the sound, is the sweetest song I know. But amazing grace, so sweet the sound, is the sweetest song I know. The sweetest, most wonderful song I know.
And welcome again to Dove on the Window. I'm your host, Pastor Wendell Jeffrey.
And I'm Celia Jeffrey.
I wanted you to pronounce your own name. How is everybody? Let's say a prayer as we go right into our discussion for this evening. Father in heaven, we bless your holy name. We thank you because you're worthy to be praised. Yes. We thank you for life and health and strength and how you've been with us. In spite of ourselves, you've been good to us, and we want to thank you. We've come this time now, this even hour, after a long week, and we want to just express our gratitude. Thank you for keeping us together. We thank you for family and for love and for intimacy, O Holy God. We thank you for the perspective that you have given us as it relates to family and the focus that we need to have, and we ask that you will guide us. It's problematic sometimes to have a family and to maintain a family, and God, we ask that you will give us that divine unction to do what is right, catapult us in the right direction. Be with the discourse we're going to have tonight. Be with those who have tuned in, those who are listening live, or those who are following us on Facebook, whatever electronic media they're following by. Be with them and their families also. May we have a wonderful sitting together. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
This is Jeffrey. How was your week?
My week was wonderful. I was part of my week, so my week was wonderful. I trust that you guys guys and gals had a wonderful week as well, and that your night will even be better even as we go through tonight's topic, which is what's love got to do with it?
What's love got to do with it?
And this is part 2, because last week we did not get to finish everything we wanted to talk about. So hopefully we will get through with everything.
Hopefully. Yeah, we plan these programs, and we plan that we're going to follow up a set pattern, and then the viewers call in, and we like that because we have a fan club, and we like the developing fan club that we had. A big shout out to all those folks. We run into so many people who say they follow us, and I really am privileged. I am humbled to be able to come to you in your homes, wherever you are at your workplaces, and share this moment of our. I was thinking that there are some professionals, professional contractors, professional doctors, attorneys at law, professional teachers, whatever area of your vocation has you in. And we are professionals in those areas because we spend time in those areas. But how much time do you spend with family or on the issues of family? How much time do you spend? And so I think that this time that we spend with you guys is quality time that you could sit. A man told me that he and his wife sit to listen to us on Friday nights, and that they enjoy the program. And so this is a good time to get your wife, maybe your children, and to cause a stimulation in the discussion. What am I saying? That you don't have to agree with everything we say. You don't have to agree, but allow the discussion to spark your own discussions at home. And so if we say something and you have to mute the television or pause the video or whatever so that your family could have a discussion, well, that is what we are hoping would happen, because we don't have all the facts, we don't have all the answers, and of course every family is unique. And so it would be good if you just use this time to have your own family discourse. So whether you want to stay through the program as a family, husband and wife, or mother with children, father with children, or husband and wife with children, you want to stay on, it's okay. But if you just want to use what we discuss to spark your own discussions at home, well, that's all well and good. What do you think, Sister Jeffrey?
Yeah, I agree the same way. It's always interesting to meet people who often say, my husband and I, my wife and I, sit and watch the program. So we are glad that, folks are able to sit. That's a nice time,
correct,
at least for 1 hour, that they get to move away from dealing with the phone or whatever it is, to sit and actually listen and converse about a topic that might be dear to their heart, even if they might not have discussed it before. They get the opportunity at that time to talk about it, to see, whether you agree or disagree, and, you have that conversation. And then, as you said, you add in the children. If you have grandparents around, you add in the grandparents, aunties, uncles, whoever, and then you get to talking. A lot of times, we don't talk enough at home. Sometimes we have to watch something, we have to see something, read something to start to spark, that interest in wanting to have a conversation about, certain topics. So that's good, that's good, that's good. Okay.
So again, the question is, how much time do you spend improving your family relationship? How much time do you spend improving your marriage? Okay? And what we're saying is, use this time. If you don't, do it in other ways. Again, there are families that do these things. And so, if you don't, this might be a healthy way. Another thing is, there are not many of these programs anywhere. There are not many of these programs on the internet. There are not many of these programs on the local television stations. You don't have many family programs. And so the uniqueness of this program, or the rareness of this program, is probably by divine appointment. All right? So again, before we get into our topic, we're going to move along. We're going to do a little refresher. I'm going to say refreshment. We're going to do a little refresher in a moment. Let me just say a number of folks have been hitting us up on Facebook and our WhatsApp in relation to the event that we have on the 24th of March, all right? The 24th of March, we have a fun day. We want to have a group of us will come together. Again, how many, it doesn't matter. We have a cutoff though, so just so you would know. and we will hang out. It will be like a little fun day. You bring something to eat, enough for you and some other person. So it's like a little family we're going to create. That the environment is going to be a family environment for adults. So you don't have to be married. If you're married, you can come also, bring your wife, your husband, and so on, but you don't have to be married, but you have to be an adult. Okay?
We did say.
You have to be adult. So not children, adults, all right? On the 24th of March. So you look for us. What's your Facebook? Celia Griffith Jeffrey. Celia Griffith Jeffrey on Facebook. And you look for Wendell Jeffrey on Facebook. And it's the Wendell Jeffrey with the
Pink tie.
it's pink.
Caribbean blue shirt.
And the what kind of blue shirt?
Caribbean blue
Caribbean
shirt.
blue, which really means green. Short. On Facebook. Or you can inbox, you can hit me up on WhatsApp, 647-9007, 647-9007, all right? And so we have a little get-together on the 24th of March. Easy to remember. It's a beautiful day. It's an easy day to remember. How do you remember the day? Sister Jeffrey.
It's 4 days after your birthday. Why do you want to remember it? What?
4 days after my birthday, right? My birthday, the 20th of March. Very special day in the year, right? The vernal equinox. I just love to say it. All right, good. So make sure that you, if you want to come, as we focus on family, and we're going to use that time, that day, we're going to use that day to plan the session. We're going to have some sessions on family and so on, and we're going to use the time we spend at this get-together to plan how we will roll out our training, our whatever we want to call it, workshop and so on, retreat on family. All right? So, Sister Jeffrey, can you recap some of the things that were discussed last week?
Okay, well, one of the things, one of the first things we talked about is we talk about, the question was asked, why did you fall in love? Wendell mentioned why he fall in love, and then I said I didn't fall in love. I actually grew to love, or, grew. I didn't fall in love, this head did, yes, potato, yes. But anyway, for me, it's different. It's a different to say you fall in love as to grow in love. I once heard somebody said, you fall in love, you can fall out of love. So, and then we also talk about, what has kept you together, what you do to help keep the marriage going, keep you together. We mentioned, we asked the question, is it easy or hard to stay in love? Did we talk about family being the most important thing?
I don't think if we touched on that.
Probably not, because I don't remember specifically talking about that. But those are some of the things that we spoke about in relation to what's love got to do with it. I think one of the other things we also talk about is the planning to stay in love. Planning, you plan, you talk about it, and you say, this, no matter thing, this is what we plan. We plan that we are going to stay in love, and we will do things to help us, as it were, stay in love. So those are the things that we discussed last week.
I was at a workshop. WHO, they're doing a alcohol policy. And I was invited as a part of those who were called to discuss what will be involved in the implementation of the policy. And it was Thursday, and it finished today. And in one of we had a little discussion as we met there at the Marriott. We were having lunch, and we were having a little discussion around one of the tables. And one of the young ladies was saying that she and her husband have decided that there are certain things that they wouldn't do. And that if either of them was to violate
those things,
these established rules or edicts, that they would divorce. of course, it was lunch, and we had several discussions that were going on as we, as we interplay there. But I don't know if I want to fully agree with what she said.
Okay.
Because she said what it is that her husband and her agreed on that would cause them to divorce. And I think that those things are not things that that a family, a husband and wife should divorce over.
Okay.
And it is interesting because I long know that a lot of people don't plan to stay in love.
Yeah. You plan to divorce. Should
Right,
this thing
right. You
happen,
plan to divorce, and
if this happens,
right.
if you don't do this,
the
if you do
planning,
this.
the planning is more how to get out of the relationship. And I want to say
Plan for your wedding. You even plan for your wedding. You plan sometimes 2 years in advance.
Correct.
For that wedding.
for the event of the wedding, but not for the
event of the
marriage.
wedding.
So I am of the opinion that you must plan to stay in love. And so that means that your relationship isn't haphazard. Your relationship is very organized. We are going to plan to stay in love. It is in my head. It is my desire. It is my focus. It is my modus operandi. I plan to stay in love. All right? So we're going to have this discussion. You see the numbers on the screen. So you can call in and let's talk. Plan to stay in love. What's love got to do with it is the theme. Then, as we move forward, we want to talk about working to stay in love. How does one work to stay in love?
Well, work sounds like a job. Sounds like manual labor. Yeah. When you say work, it sounds like a job, manual labor. Therefore, it means effort, energy,
expended,
expended energy, a thought process, thinking
okay.
about what I need to do,
Work, okay.
implementing the stuff. Because I'm looking at this thing as work. You start the morning off and you say, here, for the rest of the day, this is what I must do and accomplish. You think about how you're going to accomplish this thing.
Okay.
Also, what are the rewards of having accomplished this thing? If you understand what I'm saying.
Okay, so you're saying that when a person decides to go to work, they understand that if they do certain things, they will get certain rewards.
Exactly. At the end, it's almost as though, let's say you had a project you had to put together. And the project, you had to put it together in that day. So you have to think about what is this project going to entail? What equipment, what requisites I need to get this project completed? Who do I need to help me complete this project? So you understand what I'm saying? Then you ask yourself, how am I going to implement this project? How am the things to make this project work? And at the end of the day, I am looking forward to feeling wonderful. To benefit, to say, we're here. This project worked out well.
And so how do you apply that? How do you apply your analogy to marriage?
To the same way, you plan, you ask yourself, what can I do to help my husband, to help my wife understand that I love them?
Okay.
Good.
So that's the work you're talking
yes,
about.
The work
that you must put work into your marriage.
Exactly. You must. It mustn't be que sera, whatever. It mustn't be that way. It must be that I understand that this is a marriage. I was thinking about marriage last week, just running it through my mind. And I thought of, we always talk about teeth and tongue must bite. We always say that, teeth and tongue must bite. But then I started to think of, we always say marriage is not a bed of roses. We love to say that. Marriage is not a bed of roses. And I say, you know what? That is not true. That's really, really not true. Marriage is a bed of roses. Not only the rose, the whole bush.
Including the thorns?
A whole, you understand? Whenever you think of roses, you don't ever think of a tree that doesn't have thorns. All rose bushes have thorns.
Okay.
Whether some of them are short, some of them are long.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? So I told myself, I said, you know what? When you think of a rose bush, you have varying types of roses. Yep, you have different types. You even have different colors of roses.
Correct.
But all rose trees have thorns. So despite the fact that marriage is beautiful, like a rose bush, we still have thorns.
So,
But there are ways. How do you people pick roses? People pick roses
I'm with
and
you.
sell. People pick roses and sell. How do you think they get those roses from the tree? You have to find ways, despite the fact that there are thorns there,
To get around the
to
thorns.
get around the thorns in order to enjoy the roses.
I like the premise. I like how you I like how you right. I like that it is not that marriage is not a bed of roses.
No.
Is that it is a bed
A
of
bed
roses.
of roses. It is a bed of roses.
As a collective. I think that deserves a kiss. What do you think?
Yes.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good concept.
Yep. And
So it
all
is.
this week I was thinking about that. People always say that no, we
So-
all think
so-
that marriage is a bed of roses. It is.
But for you to say that after all these years of marriage caused me now to wonder
Go
what
ahead.
are some of the thorns in our
in our marriage, we still talking about working
work,
to stay in marriage.
Work, right, we still on the point work to stay in love.
Checking to see.
Yeah, hold a while. We have
Hold a while,
another
yes.
technical situation here. We'll deal with it. Okay.
Okay, gone. All right.
Yeah.
Yes, ask your question again.
Okay, somebody's calling in, so
They
you,
coming
you,
in,
you,
they
you're
coming
lucky. Hi, good evening.
No, baby.
No?
Press again.
Okay, hold a while. Go ahead. Yeah, the question is, what are some of the thorns in our marriage? Because you talk about the rose bush. You talk about the rose bush being filled with thorns, and the fact that even though the roses are beautiful, you have to find a way to get around the thorns, and for all practical intents and purposes, I'm asking, how do you work at staying in love in a relationship that sometimes bears thorns?
Sometimes
Sometimes.
the rose bush got thorns all the time.
The rose.
The rose bush got thorns
Somebody-
all the time.
Somebody calling. You expanding on your thing. Hi, good evening.
Listen, good night to you, my brother.
Hi,
Hey.
good evening, good evening.
How you doing?
Well, I'm going to tell you how you doing. The wife is here.
The wife is in the country,
Yeah.
Okay.
Taking the summer.
all the way from England.
Oh, boy. For me, is a happy man.
Huh?
I am an happy man.
We're glad for you.
That
We're glad for you.
suggests that when she's not there, you're not happy. I think you're trying to fatten cow for butcher.
No.
How you doing, my brother?
I cool, you know. Just take it. I'm glad for the little implemented weather that you could get something from the farm, you know.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Which farm we talking about?
Well, I deal with my yard, you know, strictly organic food.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for calling, man. Good to hear the wife is there. Give her
Yep.
our regards.
Yep.
Yeah, but
Please
I
do.
need to touch on that subject.
Go ahead.
Now, every man and every woman come together in a relationship. The woman eventually automatically becomes that man's project. That is his
I heard
project.
that already.
What lack there, that is his ability to teach or to make, if she fat, he never have to tell she fat. He got to know exactly what to do. Well, maybe we going to go and jog in the morning and we going to try and put half inside. You don't got to be sarcastic. You could do it so nicely that you won't even realize what you're doing. You know what I mean? That is how you talk. But I get twisted up with this business where you say, love, love, love. Some men lie and they call it love, you know. I mean, it's the same hell, but
I can't categorize love based on person's individualistic application of the word. So I can't refuse to talk about love and the essence of love based on somebody lying about what love is or that. So,
but when you got to give me little this to little that, and little this or feel of that, you know exactly where we're going. It's only a little of that for a little of that, and a little of this for some of that, because no emotion there, you know.
So what do we do with love then?
That's it.
Well, as I normally say, the Father revealed is to be loyal, to be obedient, so that you could have victory to eternal death.
So there is love then?
Huh?
So there is love?
There is love.
Okay.
And for this, the love now is like we put together, let no man set asunder. He never said that one sentence asunder, but he said let no man.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, and then again you come back, he said, husband love the wife as Christ loved the church. So therefore he's saying to you that a husband got to be a God-fearing man.
Correct.
So there's the issue.
Correct.
And you know, my brother, I find now that a lot of people come and they try to classify the scripture. Oh, go there and hear this and see that. I believe that, and then they tell you that this is the last days. Well, seeing that we need the last days, we need the last book.
Okay.
But to the last book and let people understand Revelation is a serious book.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thanks for talking. We hear what love's got to do with it. Thanks for calling in and blessings on you. So the call is saying that one of the things as we look at working to stay in love is not trying to embarrass your spouse, you know, calling them names and stuff, but finding ways to work on whatever problem might be there without being negative.
Okay.
So that's an aspect of working.
Exactly.
To stay in
And
love.
that's why we said that marriages have thorns. You have to find ways to work around those thorns so that the roses still bloom and are beautiful.
Beautiful. Let's take another call. Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
A very
sir.
good evening, good evening.
How are you, my dear?
Happy to see you all.
Thank you.
I want to let you know that persons are interested in your program, and they're really, really enjoying it. It's not a boring program.
Thank you, Mom.
A young lady came up to me and she said, "Did you talk on the phone last Friday night?" I said, "Why?" She said, "Well, I heard that voice song like you. It was so beautiful." So I'm thankful for that.
Thank you. Thank you, sweetheart.
And
Thank
then
you.
I'm going to leave you.
Okay.
Okay,
You have a
alright,
great
dear. You
weekend.
have
And quickly, a young man married a young woman, and they went for the honeymoon. And she had on so much of makeup that she took so long that the poor bridegroom went to bed. He fell asleep. So when she went in, he got up. And when he looked at her face, he leave her. Well, you say something about that. You all have a blessed night.
Mommy's trouble. Granny's trouble. Granny said the man left she because she put on too much makeup. Well,
It could be, I don't think it's,
he liked her naturally, and then when she put on the makeup, he didn't like what he saw, and so he left her.
but from what she's saying, she was taking time to take off the makeup.
It
So
was
by
to take off the makeup, and the man went to sleep.
What he was. It sounded like she was saying she was taking off this makeup and he fell asleep because of the amount
right,
of
and
time.
when she came in,
out to him.
when she came in,
Uh-huh.
he saw her without the makeup and
Yeah,
left her.
that's what
Okay,
it
so it's the
sounded like to me.
reverse.
That's what it
Okay.
sounded like to
Yeah,
me.
hey, that's a serious thing. That's a serious
That's
thing.
why it
Yeah,
sounded like
because
to me.
if you put on eyelash and you put on all these kind of things and fake this and so on, and the man fall in love with you for those fake things, then when you take
You
them
may
off,
fall
you
out
might
of
fall
love
out
with
of. Hey, anyhow, that is not the discussion. People, hey, sorry, Granny knocked me off this cue. That's not the discussion for tonight.
Okay.
Not the discussion, right? That's not the discussion. Oh, like Granny's trouble. Granny's trouble. Okay, working to stay in love.
Yes. You had asked me the question.
Yes, you were saying that you were making the analogy of thorns and you were
Yes.
expanding. Go ahead.
No, based on what the guy was saying, I was just saying that in every marriage, the thorns are going to be different things.
Okay.
As the gentleman mentioned just now, it might be that a husband notices that his wife is gaining weight. For him, that might be a thorn. And so he has to find a way to speak to his wife, find ways, the gentleman said, to go exercise, whatever he has to do. Nevertheless, making her still feel beautiful. You understand me?
Correct.
The fact that he still loves her, and it's not because she's gaining weight that, he's not interested, to sort of make her feel like he's not interested in her anymore. So, as I thought of that, as he said that, that's why I was thinking. You had asked about what do you do as you work you work to stay in love. And one of the things I will say is, excuse me, just get cough there. One of the things I would say is sometimes ignore therapy has to be one. Yes. And
No,
here's
say that slow.
ignore therapy.
Ignore therapy.
Ignore therapy. And let me see if I can say this in a way that you understand and don't get the wrong meaning. A lot of times we fret about stuff that is not necessary. Mm-hmm. And my thing is, if it doesn't kill you, leave it alone. Because a lot of times, those things are not that deep. If you understand me, mm-hmm. They're what I would call oil on water. And sometimes we hold on to them, and we allow those things to cause problems in the marriage. So instead of seeing the fact that there are roses and everything is blooming, is looking wonderful, you have this. For instance, you might have a situation where the man is taking care of his family, whatever. However, he likes to go play dominoes. And so, because he's been working hard whole day, he figured at least 2 days a week, 3 days a week, he's going to go with the boys and play dominoes. However, the wife might be fretting and saying, well, you know what happened, you don't think you're... And in his mind, babes, this is my time for me. Why can't I go? And you bother and you bother and you bother until instead of 3 days,
Start going out 7.
you start going out
8.
7 or, well,
8 days a
including
week.
Sunday. So
Yeah.
this is what I'm talking about. Things, if it's not going to kill you.
Or don't
If
make a
it's
mountain.
not-
Don't make a mountain out of a hole.
So that's what I'm talking about when I talk about sometimes you have to give ignore therapy.
Ignore
Just
therapy. I
leave
like that.
stuff
I
alone.
like that.
Some
I like that
things
term. I like that term.
have to be left alone.
Ignore therapy.
They will either die a natural death or it will just run smoothly.
I didn't know that is what you use on me all these years. Anyhow, we have a call. Hi, good evening.
Good evening,
A pleasant good evening.
couple.
Thank you.
I'm enjoying the program,
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
and I would like to just say a few words.
Okay.
I like the part when the guy that called in and he said that love, and some people is lie about love, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have people that they do those stuff. Yes, people are not perfect. We could never be perfect. Sometimes we got to go along, just like what the sister saying there.
Go along to get along.
Your wife
Yeah.
saying that sometimes if you talk about things
and you tell somebody, well, okay, you just killing up yourself, well, look, I don't like what you're doing, and it's causing a problem, and the person still ignoring you and doing it, it makes no sense. So it's better to leave it alone and let them think of themselves, well, if they want to stop do it or not, because like Pastor Jeffrey said, little things has caused problem in a marriage, and I feel that even if you're getting problem in a marriage, a couple, you should sit down and talk about it.
Correct.
And see if you could work towards it. Not simple thing you should just don't break up and get divorced and all these kind of things, you know. And I like the program very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Program, okay? You all too have a blessed.
Thank you. You have a great weekend. Thanks for calling.
Yes.
You know, Eckhart Tolle, he talks about the ego. And one of the biggest problems in a relationship is our ego. I want to be right. I want to be heard. I want to, I and me and my and all the personal pronouns multiplied to the 10th power. And that, a lot of times, that is what caused the problems.
Because
I want to me, it's about me. And so if you, everything gets me on my nerves, and we make it about me, and when we do that, it creates problems in the relationship.
it's almost as though we walk around with a sign on our foreheads that says, you can agree with me or you can be wrong, you know? Yeah,
I
you
like
know,
that.
that's how to way.
Yeah, let's take another call. Hi, good evening.
A pleasant good
Yes,
evening.
can you speak a little louder, please?
Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. Jeffrey.
Good evening.
Good
Good
evening.
evening to you there.
And you all looking lovely.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Make a baby boy now.
What was that?
Make a baby boy.
Thank you.
Make a baby boy. So when you look lovely, you get boys, or what? Are they saying because we don't have boys?
Make a baby boy.
Make a baby boy. Let's consider it.
Consider what?
The caller, we have a fan club. We can't disappoint them.
Consent.
Okay. All right. Working on your marriage. Now let's go on here quickly. Can you make mistakes in your marriage and still remain in love? You know, we're looking at this pseudo almost philosophical term, what's love got to do with it? So we're playing on that theme. So can you make mistakes in your marriage and still stay in love? What's your take on that?
Of course you can. It just has to be your choice. It has to be those
What has
two
to be
persons,
what
the
has to be?
choice to stay in love with each other.
Okay.
The idea that, you know, we are still going to stay in love with each other, we're still going to love each other, take care of each other, etc., despite these mistakes.
Okay.
You understand? I mean, we stand before the pastor, the priest, the imam, or whoever, and how many every bridesmaids, groomsmen, mommy, daddy, uncle, auntie, friends, family. And we say for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, till death do us part. And then somebody makes a mistake, and we decide that that's it. If you understand what I'm saying.
Okay.
So basically, you are not, there's no room, even though you said it, there's no, you have made no room for mistakes in this marriage.
For the worst.
No, you have said, I mean, I've heard about people that say for better,
Right.
or for
right,
rich and richer and richer. No,
they
richer
don't
and poor, no
want- they
better and
don't want
health
that.
and all of that. And so a lot of times we make no provisions. If a mistake happens, we're going to deal with it and we're going to try to fix it if we can't fix it, because there's sometimes there are things that you can't fix. Some stuff happens in the marriage and you cannot fix it. No matter what happens, you are unable to fix this thing.
Now, I want to say this here. As we're talking, we talk in general terms because we are on television. But as we get into the workshop, and as we do this as we go on, we're going to flush out some of these ideas. We're going to have breakout sessions. We're going to have role plays so people can either share their personal testimonies as they see fit, or we will create scenarios so we can work these things out. So I'm really hoping that you guys will plan to be a part of this national family-oriented thrust that we are trying to organize even at this minute or micro level, all right? We're going to flush out some of these things because people would want to know, well, what are some of the mistakes that a person can make? A person might ask, what level, how grave can be these mistakes that can occur in a marriage and still allow for the marriage to stay together? So we're going to flush out all those things. Let's take another call. Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Short and sweet. A man should marry a woman to hang out with his bodies. This one. A man take a woman, according to Malachi, become his partner in everything. I am having still a pack of domino from a fourth relationship. It is 26 years old. And I am saying when a man leave and he leave is not to go with his bodies. The woman has emotion, also the man. And the woman is not to go gossiping with your friends. Is to find time to each other. And if you have a family, make it better the marriage, because you're going to enjoy the kids, making fun and all kind of funny moves, and you're going to get a wonderful life. But some people want to be dominant in the relationship. You hear what I say? You're going to do what I say? But I'm going to do what you want people to do. It don't work like that.
So let's go with your premise. Suppose your wife suggests to you to go play dominoes with your friend.
Something wrong.
Yeah, but you see what happened now? You just said that the man shouldn't leave to go anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't agree with you.
No, what I'm saying, you didn't marry to go.
No, but I'm saying, but if you go, what happened?
I mean,
You're saying that you should.
To what you all was saying.
Uh-huh.
It's like some man go start like I with my bodies.
And what wrong with that?
Actually, nothing wrong with it. But then again, you got to consider the other person's emotion.
I suppose. Okay. So what
domino with your wife if it's twice a week.
Okay, I'm not saying that, and we do those kind of things. That's fine. I'm saying though that a marriage should not cause a person to lose their individualism, and there needs to be discussions, because while the guy might want to go play dominoes to hang out with his guys, the wife might want to go somewhere with her friends.
Yes, sir.
And the man should not be so manipulative as to not allow her to do that, and the woman should not be as manipulative to not allow the man to do that. So what I'm saying, we're talking about compromise.
Yes,
all right?
sir.
We're talking about communication and compromise.
At the same time, when you go with your bodies and the sister go with your sissies, and them ain't got no experience, what is a husband and how to treat a husband, and them brother ain't got no experience is how to take care of your wife, they get the wrong information. And because they pick up the wrong information, they start to prophesy the wrong thing.
All right, let me truncate. I can tell that you're from the old school. A wife or a husband in these days does not have to go anywhere to get that information from his bodies. Yeah, I could stay in my house 24/7 and get the worst or the best kind of information right now. So to suggest that when the guy goes to play with his dominoes with his buddies, or when the wife goes to hang out with her girlfriends, that she's going to hear or he's going to hear things and then come back and behave negative in the marriage, is to suggest that you can't have any phone, you can't watch television, because all those influences are on television.
But I like that, my brother.
Say again?
Different kind of influence, because you got something that is called tantalize. And everybody could take it.
All right, you keep moving the goalposts, but I understand your general point. Thanks for calling, though. I understand the point. And the point, I guess, what the call is making is that behaviors in the marriage should not irritate the other person. So my behavior should not irritate you, and vice versa. However, there should be some allowance in the marriage for individualism. All right?
You should want, for instance, is like it's just like when you home with your kids. You don't spend all your time with your children. Your children are allowed to spend time with their own friends.
Correct.
Whether it be to have a play date at your house or they have a play wherever. The same way in a marriage, and I always believe, you know, you have to be able, I call it my space, if you want to say it like that. I must be able to go and hang out with my girlfriends from school, my girlfriends from church. We must be able to go somewhere, us girls, and talk about girl stuff, whatever that may be, and eat ice cream, whatever it is. We must be able to do that, along with the men must be able to go hang out with their friends. Now, I'm not saying that you might not have a situation where you have girlfriends who are negative, or you have male friends who are negative. No, the onus is on me. The onus is on you. The onus is on that person to decide whether or not I want to continue to hang out with these friends. They got friends all over the place. You make friends at work. You make friends at church. You have friends. Sometimes you travel in the bus. You meet friends. You travel on the airplane. You meet friends. I remember when I went home last year, I went on the Atlantis submarine. I met a lady there who I'd also met the Sunday before when we went on a bus trip. You understand? That's how you meet people. So the thing is, I have to decide if I'm with these girlfriends and they're negative about, let's say I am with either single women, or if I'm with married women as well, and they are negative about whatever it is I'm discussing, or negative towards giving me a hard time about my husband, or whatever it is, I have to decide if that is the relationship type of environment I want to be in.
Correct.
However, I need to be able to hang out with my girlfriends. You boost each other up. You help to tell each other. I mean, WhatsApp can only do so much. Messenger can. It's good to be able to see each other, to hug each other, reassure each other. Sometimes you as it were, you tag off of each other. Girl, here, I tried this thing and it worked. You understand me? I tried this new hairstyle.
All right, somebody's asking, I can barely read this here, Rodwin.
What is individualism?
What is individualism? In essence, well, you know, we got to go back, and that's what I'm saying, that we have to have these workshops, because we talked before about the lead up to marriage. Remember, we spent several weeks on the courtship and premarital counseling and so on, where we said that a person has to be comfortable in themselves.
Correct.
You have to be comfortable with you. You do not marry to complete you. You have to come to the marriage as a completed person. When you come, both of you, you come to the marriage as a completed person, so that I maintain my individualism, in the sense that I don't have to give up everything that I like. I don't have to give up everything that I used to do. I don't have to become a hermit or whatever, a robot to the marriage. That is what I mean when I talk about maintaining individualism. What happens is that people get married to find themselves. So now you get married, you're always looking for somebody to always make you feel nice. So the man can't go nowhere, because the moment he goes somewhere, it's because he got another woman, it's because he loves dominoes more than you, it's because he loves this more than you. The woman can't go nowhere, because the moment the woman step out the house, it's because she ain't got no, and because you went into the marriage to find you. And a lot of marriages are in trouble because of that. So it's all about you. It's all about how you make me feel, you know. And so there is no individualism. I can't listen to what pleases me, because as soon as I listen to what pleases me, it gets you mad. If I like news and you don't like news, I can't watch news, because you feel that news too depressing. And turn off the TV, all you're looking is news. Or if she likes a certain kind of music, or a certain kind of movies or reads a certain kind of books. You want she, you know. So that is what I'm saying. If the marriage is based on you fussing with your partner about everything that the partner does, because it appears to you that it takes away time from the attention the partner should pay to you, then that lends to the negativity in the marriage. And of course, it really breaks my heart every time I come on television and we discuss these issues, because I know that in a controlled environment, you can actually say, well, Pastor Jeffrey, this is what happened. And then we can look at your specific situation, okay? And that's why we do counseling, and that's why we do workshops and so on, so that people's individual situation can be attended to, and we could look at those parameters. But now we're speaking in general terms, and it is really difficult. It's really difficult when we do it like this, because I know that you're asking one question, but there are thousands of other questions that you would like to ask as it relates to this, and we can't do justice to it as we speak in this forum, all right? So, of course, you know that we offer counseling. The numbers 647-9007. You can call, we can offer counseling. You have the Facebook page that you can maybe ask some more questions there. But we would like to help you if your marriage, if your marriage is strong and you want to strengthen it, we can help with that. If your marriage has some issues and you want to help to resolve them, understand how you can resolve them, we can help with that also. So call us, and so that we can, you know, we can set up a schedule to meet with you if you so desire.
Concerning what the gentleman was talking about just now, I think that's why, as you are courting, you need to understand that in the marriage that will eventually happen, you have to compromise. You have to compromise. If you like something and the other person doesn't like something, you have to be able, it's almost as though, you know, you say, Wendell likes Raisin Bran, but I don't like Raisin Bran. I like, Frosted Flakes.
7 Greens, okay.
Or, yeah, you know, Frosted Flakes.
Oh, you're talking about
so or it might be something else where you figure you have to put this person, keep this person from, you know, doing what it is they want to do in order for it to seem as though we're fulfilling it without my thing.
You're restricting the person for your own pleasure.
We have to compromise.
Let's take a call. Hi, good evening.
This is me. I agree with her.
A pleasant good evening.
Very much agree with her. It's a compromising situation because, well, I don't know, dancing, all those things. And a woman, I don't think that she should leave her husband in the bed and go out to these big dancing and brawling and things and so on to leave him sleeping. What do you think about that?
Good. I'll answer you off the air. Now, when a person goes to counseling, the counseling sessions, those things should be dealt with in the counseling session.
Exactly.
And that is why we suggest that you're supposed to go to counseling before you marry.
Before you even set a date.
We had an issue when we were overseas with a man who married a woman based on how she attired herself. I don't know if there's an adjective. Based on how she dressed, he married her.
Yeah.
And we had a big issue because once he married her, he wanted her to change her dress, how she looked. And she was careful. She said to all of us, including me, she said, I dress like this because I like how it makes me feel. I did not dress like this to find a man. I dressed like this because of how it makes me feel. It so happened that her husband was attracted to how she was dressed and figured that if she continued to dress like that, other men will be attracted to her and he might lose her. So he wanted to get her to change how she dressed. And it created hell in that.
Confusion.
It created
my
a
goodness.
ton of confusion in that relationship.
Yep.
You see? So those are things that have to be flushed out. So,
Somebody's asking a question.
what's the question?
What is the first step in getting married? That's what somebody and then, like Keith is asking.
No,
What is the first step in
Keith,
getting
you're knocking us
married?
off. Oh, the first step in getting married, there's so many first steps. Keith,
step.
you got to talk to us off the program. That's a wide question you're asking there. Okay, so going back to the question that Granny asked just now, if the woman that you are marrying is a party woman, and you did not discuss with her limitations to her partying, then you don't expect that when she marry you, she's going to stop liking to party.
Exactly.
So those things need to be flushed out. Okay? Those things need to be flushed out.
Because you might think that, because she's partying, and then what happens a lot of time is that they meet these ladies at the party.
Right. And then, yeah.
You meet these ladies at the bars, the
dance,
clubs,
yeah.
the whatever, and you figure that now that she's got them married, he's got them married, they're going to stay home. This is what they were.
Yeah.
They were looking
because
for spouse.
you didn't find out if it was that she went to the party to look
To
for a man, or vice versa, because it could
That's
be
what I'm saying,
that the woman find the man in the dance, and then when the man goes back to the dance, in her head, just because you find her, you can find somebody else.
Yep.
So those things need to be flushed out.
Because what happens sometimes too, I saw a situation one time on, I think it was one of those divorce courts, where the man met his wife in the bar, met the woman in the bar, and as we said, when they got married, they were partiers. All the time they were dating, courting, they were going to these parties. When they got married, the guy slacked up on going to the parties. The lady kept going to the parties, and he was really, really upset. And I think that's one of the reasons why he was divorcing the woman, so much so that one of the things he did is that he had taken all of her clothes, all of her party clothes, and put them in a tub and put bleach on them. Eventually, I, of course, had to pay the lady in the divorce settlement. But he just calmed down from the party line, and the lady kept saying, the lady said, you met me in the party.
Correct.
We were going all the time.
Correct.
She said, if I even knew that when we got married that you would have stopped
Going to party, I
thought I
found a
a
party mate.
A party mate.
All right, so those things.
Party mate,
So we're
party
talking
mate.
about we coming out of time here now. Can you make mistakes in marriage?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yes,
We got
yes,
knocked
you
off
can.
our square.
Yes, you
And the
can.
question is, the answer to that is a definite yes.
Yes.
In fact, maybe you would even want to argue that if you don't
stay in love.
if you don't make mistakes in a marriage, then the marriage really is not tested. Because it is the test of the mistakes, it is the test of the fights that determine, that can prove the strength of the relationship. So some room should be made, some allowance should be made for mistakes in the marriage. All right?
One of the reasons why that needs to happen is because when you go in thinking that there are not going to be any mistakes, or you're not tolerating any mistakes, sometimes what happens is that you do not tolerate any mistakes from your spouse. You're not tolerating any mistakes from your spouse, but the spouse must tolerate from you.
Mistakes.
You understand?
And that is the point I was making earlier when I talked about Eckhart Tolle and the ego.
Ego.
You know, we wear our emotions on our sleeves and they get knocked off quite easily, and we make life about us. We make our relationships about us and me, and we don't make enough or sufficient provisions for the other person, and these things have to be taken into consideration.
A lot. you know, the men talking about the women can't get fat, the women can't do this, and then you got this big wash tub in front of you.
No, say that hard. I'm not sure the people are hearing you. I want them to hear you.
Then you got this big bear belly.
No, but how you come with the bear belly? What you're saying that the men are saying they don't want the women to be fat.
They don't want these women, their wives to get fat, and they sit there get
big
this
belly.
bear belly, as they call this big bear belly, and she must be comfortable with that, even though. So those are the things, you know, that we got to really be careful that, you know, we tell ourselves that we're not going to tolerate stuff. We're not going to. You got to be able to, and not necessarily tolerate it, but have an understanding to the things that are going on, because a lot of times you can be the one
creating
to help.
the problem. Create a problem. Are we out of time, folks?
Yes.
We're gonna have to give this thing one more time. We not quite finished with what's love got to do with it, and then we want to begin again to look at the act of marriage. It's the same concept as we go forward.
However, what we want to do is really look at the book and deal with some of the things that the Leahis have dealt with in the book. And as I said, a lot of those things have allowed me to make the decision.
We completely out of time. Say a prayer for us, babe, as we close out.
Oh my goodness, it was so wonderful to have you guys watching. Father, we praise you, we glorify your name in all the earth, dear Lord. Thank you so much for this wonderful Sabbath and for this opportunity, dear Lord, to speak and to talk and to listen, dear Lord. And we just want to thank you for being in our presence. And I trust, dear Lord, that each and every one of us would have learned something to help catapult our marriages into being a better one.
Yes.
We love you and we praise you. Is our prayer in Jesus' name, thanksgiving.
Amen.
Amen.
See you next week. Bye-bye.
Yes.
God bless you real good.
So long.
I've
Bye-bye.
heard them sing, he paid the price and Jesus bore it all. I've heard them sing, I'm coming home, and heed the master's call. I've heard them sing the modern songs and songs of long ago. But amazing grace, so sweet the sound, is the sweetest song I know. Amazing grace, so sweet the sound, oh how sweet is the sound. No sweeter song in this life could be found. Heard about the Savior's blood, washed as white as snow. But amazing grace, so sweet the sound, is the sweetest song I know. It was the song my mother sang in sweet and humble voice. Like music from the world above, it made my soul rejoice. Its soothing words and melodies like the rippling waters